This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
We got a guest.
And I'm RGT. Sorry.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if we told you to say it right after that. I couldn't remember. Yeah. But our guest today is RGT85, also known as Sean Long. Sean, like, use your last name, is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. Also known as Sean. We'll just go with Sean. No, no last name, no alias. Want to tell everybody about your channel real quick?
I make mediocre video gaming content, and that's pretty much what I do.
I've been watching you for quite a while, though. Not to sound like a creep or anything.
I've been watching you.
I remember when you used to do a lot of your retro, like Saturn videos, and I was like, man, I wish I had a Saturn right now.
Yeah, I love the Saturn. It's a good system.
But yeah, so it was really cool to reach out to you and have you come on the show, so we appreciate that. And definitely go subscribe. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already. Today,
not sure why you're watching this video if you're not already subscribed, but
something like that, right?
Yeah.
Let me see here. I've got to pull up. I'm going to pull up the outline. I forgot to do that before we pulled this up, so just give me 1 second. I usually have it up on the screen so everybody can see it. I shouldn't give away that secret, though, because then everybody thinks we're just talking off the cuff, right?
Yeah, now you have no excuse not to read the script, Chris.
All right, here we go. It's up now. Will, you refrained from making a joke. I'm shocked. All right, let's see.
Trying to be good.
Yeah, I know. You're on your best behavior today. All right. So today is all about the new PS5 controller. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet... I hope
they call it the Oreo. I would buy it if they called it the Oreo.
That's the nickname I unofficially gave it. And the only reason it's got the Oreo is because it's got the 2 black buttons on top there. Otherwise, it would just be like half an Oreo. But yeah, so we're really kind of discussing that today. But the quick topics ahead of that are Animal Crossing hit 2.6 million sales in 10 days in Japan. That's insanity.
Well, it's a perfect game for what's going on in the world today. So
that's true.
You know, escapism. I haven't bought it yet. I refuse to buy it.
My brother-in-law had me order it for him from GameStop. So I had to send him to him in the mail. So that's the only thing. I've technically purchased it, but I don't own it. I can't believe that 2.6 million sales in just Japan, though. I would love to see the numbers in the United States.
Well, the thing about Animal, you go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the thing about Animal Crossing is if you look at it statistically, it always sells really well. Like it sold over 16 million copies on the 3DS. Like, you know, it's a very popular series, but it always sort of flies under the radar. And I think some of that is because of the fact that, you know, the Wii U didn't really have an Animal Crossing. They had that Amiibo Festival atrocity. So, you know, people sort of forgot, you know, because it had been so long since the new Animal Crossing game came out. Like, it's probably hit, I would say it's well over 6 mil worldwide at least by now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo comes out in a week or two and it's like, hey, we sold 10 mil worldwide on this. Like, that's how big.
That wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, like it's such a big franchise, but yeah, I'm not gonna pick it up. I don't know. Like, I loved Animal Crossing back in the day. I loved it on the GameCube. I loved it on the DS. But I just feel like they haven't really like done a whole lot to sort of add in new things. And I know there's, you know, the Nook Miles and stuff like that in it. It's just, I don't know. Like,
you can hop over the water now.
Yeah. I feel like it's still a great game. It's just I've sort of moved on from that franchise, so I'm not, you know, I don't really have to rush out and get it.
I still can't believe they had like a full-blown, you know, set of emulators in the one on the GameCube. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
You like sideload games into the memory card, and it was that's crazy. It was like the first exploit of like a major console title for GameCube, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right.
That's just so weird to think that people were sideloading games into Animal Crossing to play them on the GameCube.
I mean, it worked because you could play it. You know, back then there wasn't all the retro clone consoles that were knockoffs. They were all, none of them. You know, you could do, you know, things with like progressive scan and stuff like that, and you could do progressive scan with Animal Crossing, so you could have better resolutions.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that because the Animal Crossing would have came out before the Game Boy Player, right?
Right.
So yeah, you wouldn't have had any of it yet. That's yeah. We'll have to talk about that on a different episode. That'd be a fun topic. The second mini topic we got here is the Halo 2 Anniversary PC is currently in beta testing. All new customizations all new customization is being added to the PC version, along with theater mode, which I don't think there was theater mode launched on the Xbox One.
They were going to put it in originally, but they moved it to 3.
And then the Halo 2 Anniversary PC beta testing is going to roll out in a 3-tiered rollout, where they've got like the first ring is like the people they keep close to the development team, and then they expand to a bigger ring and a bigger ring as they keep going forward. So that'll be interesting to see gameplay on like Twitch, YouTube, live streaming. I'm very excited for this one because Halo 2 Anniversary.
I'm super pumped about this. I was playing Halo C the other day on my laptop with my Xbox controller hooked up to my phone hotspot. I was like, what a world we live in. I'm very excited for it.
Are you into the Halo franchise at all?
I loved Halo 2 for the super bounces. I would always super bounce and get out of the map and kill everyone because I was a horrible person. But that's how I like. See, I actually didn't play it on Xbox Live. I had a modded Xbox, so I would play it on what was it, X-Link Kai, I think it was called.
Yeah, you're right.
It was like a free thing to play it on, and you could go on there with hacked systems. So I absolutely loved Halo 2. My computer, I'm very bad at technology, and I actually just bought like an actual adult computer very recently, as in like it came in like 2 days ago, because my all-in-one desktop that I've been using since 2015 finally just bit the dust. And I don't know anything about PC gaming. The last time I logged into Steam was in 2016 to download Nights into Dreams and play it on the all-in-one desktop. But I actually just today, just for the hell of it, I downloaded the Doom 2016 demo. I cranked up all the settings to maximum graphic settings, and it ran so smooth. So I might actually check it out, especially considering that you can use like an Xbox One controller with your PC. Like I might actually start to dabble in PC gaming a bit more because it's unknown territory for me, basically.
If you wanted to know, here's my preferred option for PC gaming. It's a wired Xbox 360 controller.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, I used to use that way back in the day to play N64 emulators, like and play WWF No Mercy because you could do like the texture hacks and stuff like that, and like make it like have modern stuff. So I used to use a 360 controller for that.
Well, I just like the fact that it's actually wired and wired nicely. Yeah. I hate using like the micro USB cables into an Xbox One controller because it just feels so flimsy to me.
That's true.
So on to like the main topic here. We got the PlayStation 5 controller up on the screen. And if anybody's watching with the sound off, they're probably wondering what we've been saying about this controller for the last 5 minutes. But the PS5 controller, they released this one image essentially, two images, like one kind of laying on a table and one up on the up on its legs there. And it's gotten a lot of interesting mods done by artists all over the web and people complaining or praising this controller. I just find it such an odd design to launch like as a news article for the PS5. Like, here's what we got from Sony, right? It's just such a strange concept art for the controller for color schemes. I don't know. I know RGT had some stuff before we got into this, so.
Yeah, I mean, really, the thing of it is that controllers are usually indicative of the color scheme of the console itself. So is it going to be a two-toned system? Like, I don't know. It seems weird to kind of show the controller before you show off the system. Like,
it does seem very strange.
Sony's just been very strange with the PlayStation 5 in general. Going back to the Mark Cerny 52-minute presentation. That I literally fell asleep watching. Like, it was just like, what are you doing here? Like, you could sit there and talk about stuff, and to a lesser extent, I think one of the things is Xbox Series X has been getting a lot more public praise, but when you actually look at it, they really haven't done all that much. They showed you Hellblade 2. A tech demo of Hellblade 2 that, yes, maybe the cutscenes will look that good, the in-game cutscenes, but more than likely the gameplay when you're actually playing the game isn't going to be that high graphical fidelity, and they showed you what the system looked like. And so in the grand scheme of things, that's really not all that much, but they've just been so much more vocal and more in your face about it than Sony has been with the PlayStation 5. Like, people just want to see the system, and I think the controller could be fine. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the DualShock 4 controller. It's actually, out of that, the Switch Pro controller and the Xbox One controller is probably my least favorite controller because of the battery life on it. But they did say they were gonna, you know, put time and effort into the battery life on it. The sticks or the you know, the grips on it are longer than the DualShock 4. So I'm just taking a wait and see approach with it. You know, I don't care if a controller is puke green or something like that. Like, as long as it feels good in my hands, like, I'm happy.
I mean, I have to imagine there'll be variants, different colors. I mean, people have done so many different color schemes here. Like, this black one looks beautiful, but that's just my opinion. I think white and black is like not the way to go with a color scheme. But you know, everybody's got their own taste, and Sony's got theirs, and I've got mine. But I would not probably buy this day one with that color scheme because I know they'll eventually launch different color schemes, and I'll just wait. It's not a big deal to me.
They might even. Some people have been thinking that they might even do it to where it's like a faceplate on there, because it almost looks like a faceplate, especially when you look at like where the blue is. So if they do a faceplate where you could swap out different colors or something like that, that would be
sort of like the Xbox 360 console itself.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And speaking of the Xbox 360, I can't believe more people didn't think that this didn't look like the Star Wars Xbox 360 console that came out.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw this thing. I was like, is this for the Xbox 360 Star Wars edition? Like, it's the same color scheme.
I actually have that system.
And it's a cool looking system.
The Xbox 350 doesn't exist. Let me fix that. Wait, you're talking about the
the
white
system
one,
itself.
Right? That's right, because it's a C3PO controller. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't know what I was thinking. Xbox 360 console edition. There it is. Yeah, it does look like that. I agree, even with the blue. And if they had like a little black texture on the top there for the grill, it would be like a matching controller to that system.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Xbox 360 has
I didn't think
such
about
good...
it just now, but you're totally right. It's exactly what it looks like.
They did a good job with lots of different cool customizations for the Xbox 360. Like,
did you see the Tom's Guide where they mocked the mock-up of the PS5 system and how it, like the color scheme would match with the controller?
What'd you say?
I didn't see that.
It's called Tom's Guide.
Tom's Guide, PS5 controller. This
it is right there. Yeah.
The flipboard. Oh yeah, you sent me
Obviously,
that.
they don't know what it looks like, but it's just interesting that they are like, well, it'll match the color scheme. So.
What if they just like threw a curveball at us and like took the old PSX Japanese console and like reskinned it?
I'd be down.
This
That's
guy.
a decent looking console.
Thing's a tank.
For me, I agree about the color scheme that it looks kind of funky, but it just comes down to how it feels. There's just a lot going on in that controller that I just don't necessarily need in my controller. So I like the touchpad, and they're talking about like having like haptic feedback possibly on the touchpad. And I don't know. Again, it's just going to come down the field. I have a really hard time getting behind the PS controllers in general, just because I don't like having the joysticks right next to each other. So that's a personal preference. So for me, just seeing those are still like in the exact same location, like obviously it's a PlayStation thing, so they're probably never going to change it. But I would prefer if they had offset them like the Xbox, or put them up top like the Wii U controller.
Actually, that's the last console that probably launched where they pushed the controller more than the console itself was the Wii U, and that was a mistake because everybody thought it was just a attachment for the Wii.
And then they have like audio and stuff coming. You can talk through the controller.
Yeah,
so
that's weird.
That's cool, but it sounds gimmicky.
Well, and they're also doing a thing where it's going to be like when you talk, you could talk into the controller and ask for like hints, but somehow at first it sounded okay, but Sony then came along and actually did a patent for monetization of that. So if like
you're right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, if you're stuck on something and you ask for a hint, it'll somehow charge you. It's like, no, I'll just take out my phone and like facts or something.
Come on.
It's like the Amazon Echo experience, right? Not Echo. What did they have that service on Kindle for a little while where you could just be like, I need help, fire your Fire tablet or whatever. You remember when they launched that? It's like that, except they're charging you for it. Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, I will say just having the controller shown off before the console has me worried, and I don't know why. I'm sure nothing's wrong, but that does have me worried.
Well, I mean, it's just a series of events with Sony, just how quiet they've been, and with Xbox being all big and boisterous, and then if you want to get into the nitty gritty with the tech stuff, technically the PS5 is weaker. So I mean, I'm not super concerned about it. I don't think it'll be like a PS3 situation where Sony just takes everything for granted and flip flops. But then on the other hand, you got to look at what's been happening with Sony as a company, with Sean Layden leaving mysteriously and all that stuff. Like, that question's never been answered. What happened? Why did he leave? Why was it announced in a tweet?
Yeah, that
was weird. When Reggie left Nintendo, it was like, roll out the red carpet. Here comes Reggie for his final hurrah. And now, when pretty much the Reggie of Sony leaves their games division, they're just like, oh yeah, he left.
That was, that's right. I never thought about it that way, but I remember hearing quite a few videos about him leaving and like, that's weird. And then I just never thought about it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this color scheme, this, retro PlayStation classic, essentially, color
cool.
scheme. They did the same thing on the PS4, so I hope they actually launch something like this on the PS5.
Yep. Another thing, I don't know if I'm just blind and I can't see the photo well enough, like as I was looking this up before, but the buttons look flat.
Let me see that side view.
The buttons do look kind of strange.
They're definitely not flat, but they're more flush than previous controllers.
And I showed this to my wife, and immediately she's like, "I'm gonna mess up those button combinations constantly." Apparently, she like has to feel around for the buttons, but I mean, that might be a common problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this controller scheme?
I'd like to know how much it's going to cost. I have a feeling it's going to be very expensive.
To get the controllers or the console itself?
No, the controllers. I think this next generation, you're going to see $80 controllers be the standard.
Well, the Switch Pro started the $70 trend.
And I never bought one until... what's funny? I never bought a Switch Pro controller until somebody literally donated money to Spawnwave, the Spawncast, and was like, "This is for Sean to buy a Pro controller." And I was like, well, I guess I have to now.
Yeah, if somebody dedicates some money in a stream, like, "Hey, buy this," it's like, fine. I've seen that seems to happen pretty often where somebody's just frustrated, like, "I want this guy to do this. All right, here's some money. Go do it."
And it's like it's not like I couldn't afford it. I just didn't see the need. I was fine with the little dog face controller, but I am glad that I did get one because I love that thing now. I
love my Wii U Pro controller, so if the Switch Pro controller is anything like that, I'll probably pick one up eventually.
Yeah, it's really solid.
Cool. Well, I mean, if this controller turns out to be like, really nice features and it's a nice feel in the hands, I'll probably pick one up, but I just don't like this color scheme. That's my final thought. I just don't like the color scheme personally.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't sell a console for me, as in, like, I wouldn't not buy a console because of the color scheme.
I guess I'm just that petty.
Yeah, apparently.
Everyone's got their preferences.
Well, if that's all you guys got, we'll move on to our next segment and close this one out. So, as always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm RGT.
And we will see you
on the next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.